Well, they do have a ball game coming up this Saturday against Rutgers, so I guess the Scarlet Knights aren't necessarily a joke, but reaching bowl eligibility before November. And I don't know if you guys are like me, but I've got this pecking order when it comes to any conference in terms of these are the teams, those are the second tier teams on down the line. And it takes a little time for those to, I'm probably a little bit slow to move on that. And it looks like Rutgers has taken Maryland's place as the team that could be just not pushing the top three, but kind of settled into their own little category there because they have dragged around the likes of Indiana and others, winning those kind of football games. So they're at 6-2.
Yeah, they're having a great year. This is the best season Rutgers has had back to 2014. I think that might be their, if with one more win at some point, if they can get one more win, they would have their first winning season since 2014. I think they won maybe eight games in their first year in the Big Ten with Kyle Flood was their coach. And they are 6-2 right now. They are going to go to a bowl game, although they did go to a bowl game 2 years ago when they only had 5 wins as a replacement, I think, for another team. So they're going to earn a bowl. This will be the first bowl game that they've earned in a long time. So that's tremendous for Greg Schiano. It's been a slow build in his first, few years back. I think it was 3 wins, 5 wins, 4 wins, something like that the last 3 years for them. And now to get to 6 is very impressive. So I think you got to be, if you're a Rutgers fan, you got to be optimistic. And they played Michigan tough for the first half. It was 7-7 late in the first half. Michigan scored a touchdown right before halftime to make it 14-7. And then Mike Sainristil, their outstanding defensive back, had a long pick 6 return for a touchdown, and the floodgates opened. And the line on that game was like 22, 23 points, and Michigan won like right on the line, 31-7. It was, might have been a push. I don't even know, but it was crazy how them guys know exactly how that thing's going to end, 6 days before it's played. But
are you talking about Michigan?
Yeah, the Michigan game. Yeah. In Michigan, it's crazy how they know what you're gonna run. I know that at halftime of that game, Schiano said, "There's some weird things going on out here," whatever that was he said, and is thinly veiled. The whole thing in this coaching profession is, I'm going to walk right up that line. I'm going to accuse you of cheating without accusing you of cheating, because then I am not part of the fraternity if I accuse you of cheating. I'm ready and willing and waiting for one of these guys to just step up and step out of that box and just clearly say what everybody knows at some point. So, I guess we'll wait till hell freezes over to have that day happen. But, we've been cheated upon. I'm not going to say by who,
All the Big Ten coaches should get together and write out their script for their halftime talk with the sideline reporter. And just share that, and that's going to be the script for every week and kind of prove a point. But Rutgers threw together a 5 for 12 out of Gavin Wimsatt for an astonishing 39 yards passing against Indiana. But when you're rolling up 276 on the ground, I guess you don't need to. There are far too many teams, I guess, in the Big Ten for anyone that's wants to see a passing game that's running up these kind of numbers each week. There's like a collection of them. More so than any other conference. But Tony, it's working.
Yeah, and if you look at the national leaders in defense, you'll see some Big Ten teams up there, and it's more because they're playing a bunch of Big Ten offenses and building up these ridiculous numbers because they're facing no threats in their conference schedule. I will say congrats to Rutgers for winning 6 games in 8 tries. They're 0-2 against the 2 teams they've played that are above 500. They're 6-0 against everybody else, 5-0 at home. So Ohio State's got their work cut out for them, but it will be interesting to see, comparing them to Maryland and how we all just view Maryland as better. But, Rutgers beat Northwestern. Maryland didn't. Maryland will come to town to end this season. I'll be interested to see how that one goes because I don't see Rutgers winning another game before then because they've got Ohio State. Then they're at Iowa. Then they're at Penn State. I think a 7-5 is a lot better than 6-6, just for not just the optics of it, but also beating that Maryland team that people view as ahead of you, and just establishing some presence there. And good job by Greg Schiano, but there are schedules in the Big Ten where you should be able to win 7 games. This is one of them, and they're doing what they should be with the schedule. So, good job on having playing in a very weak schedule or weak conference right now, I guess I would say, to this point.
Guys, I'm going to have to beg my goodbye here. I've got an appointment at 12:30 I need to get to in downtown, so it's going to take me about a half hour to get there. But I look for a carbon copy of what we just saw. I'll probably pick it like 34-13, something like that. I think the offense will take one more step, add one more touchdown to the pile this week. Rutgers defense is very good, particularly against the pass. So McCord, he's getting ready for these challenges, playing against, another stingy defense. And these are good preparations, I think, for him. I don't think we can dismiss the fact that he's going against good teams, that he's at least struggling against good teams, I suppose. If it would be different if he was struggling against, some awful defense. But, to my way of thinking, these are all steps in the progression. I don't want to make it seem like it's all doom or gloom with him, because, then he comes back and makes amazing throws like the touchdown over the top to Marvin, and Marvin, again, makes the play that only he can make. Like 2 guys in the entire nation could make that play, and he's one of them, where he catches the ball with the guy draped all over him and somehow still gets a foot down in bounds and comes down with the football. And amazingly this week it didn't move like that, so they couldn't wipe it out. That was what Coach Day said after the game. It didn't move, so which he's had 2 touchdowns wiped out because on replay he got a foot down in bounds, but because it went like that, they, it wasn't like he was juggling it, This is not a disqualifier. This is a disqualifier.
Somebody's got some odds on the Bolitnikoff Award, maybe, that we don't know about. That could be an issue.
I'm going to run.
All right,
see
Steve.
you guys next week.
Sounds good.
See you, Steve.
Tony, we've not checked in on the offensive line this week, and that's mandatory for us to do that. So, your thoughts about their performance against Wisconsin?
Yeah, they had some really good moments with the run blocking, but Travion Henderson helps that and it gets to the hole quicker than the other guys. It gets through the hole quicker than the other guys. Struggling in pass pro, that's been happening, but they've not been perfect yet in anything. And so you can look, if you want to look and see if they're struggling in the running game, you'll find snaps. And if you want to look and see that they're doing well in the pass blocking, you'll find snaps there. It's just a lack of consistency right now, which is the concern in terms of it just takes one bad thing. Like Ryan Day was talking about, I think it was the second snap of the game where there was, I don't know, a negative play or something, but it was a low snap from Carson Hinsman. Kyle McCord had to look down to get the ball, missed the fact that there was a blitz, so he didn't see who the hot guy was. And they had it blocked. If McCord would have thrown it into the flats with a hot read, they had blockers out there, and it would have been an explosive play. But just a simple thing, because of the low snap, he missed being able to see the blitzer. And so with so many plays, it's just one thing, like not getting to the second level for a blocker to hit a linebacker or a snap, or one bad step, or choosing the wrong blitzer, the wrong guy to block when maybe you don't follow the rules that have been assigned. So just things like that, that has been what has set this offensive line back. Talent overall is, I'm sure they would like to have more talent, but I'm feeling much better about Josh Simmons now than earlier in the season. He still gets his customary false start, but I think he's doing really, really well at this point. Is getting better each week. Josh Fryer at right tackle has had some issues. The interior, Carson Hinsman has some ups and downs, sometimes more downs than ups, but I think you expect that from a redshirt freshman starting at center when you're facing a bunch of defenses with the amount of different defensive fronts and things that you see in college is more than what you see in the NFL because of different systems, different teams, different skill sets, different recruiting bases. So I think it's a lot to process for a young guy, and this is only going to make him better, but he needs to get better now rather than waiting until next year.
Never before has there been so widely known the number one player in the nation in penalties. I think that graphic comes up every week at some point on the broadcast about Josh Simmons.